Just waiting for some people to get in here. Hey, welcome, Sakuna. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to get started in just a second. Welcome, Minnesota girl. Thanks for joining. We're going to get started in just one moment. Just to give you guys a little rundown of what's going on today. I am back on 3 different platforms, so I may be shifting my eyes from one screen to the other. But I don't have anything to ship today, but I did want to discuss something. And as you could tell from the title, the overall theme of today is like resellers being scumbags and my opinion on scummy business practices. And I want your guys' opinion of things that you may think are scummy and what do you maybe think that people list as scummy that's not. So I've got a little bit of a list. So we're kind of doing this as a live podcast today. Again, I'm not shipping anything out, so my attention's not going to be diverted into doing the shipping. But I did want to discuss this. And Brandon always gives me crap about drinking my chocolate milk, but here's a chocolate milk swig for Brandon. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Again, if you just missed what I said, we are going to be doing like a live podcast today, and the topic is going to be about scummy business practices. And the reason that I decided to do this topic is if you follow my reels, I released a video yesterday about a gentleman. We'll call him a gentleman. He did a crazy weather. It was crazy weather last night, Daniel. It actually knocked half of our tree over. So I've got to deal with that at some point now. But basically this guy, we went to his house for a private pick. And during that conversation, he talked about shipping things out media mail that aren't media mail. And he also said he talked about sealing a PlayStation game by gluing it and labeling it as sealed. And my video basically just said, and people call me scummy. This is something scummy, basically. So I thought I would actually do a little more detailed discussion of business practices that I think are scummy, things that people will say in videos about how resellers are scummy that I don't agree with. And this won't be super structured. If you guys have anything that you want to say in the comics, if you're talking about the Spider-Man comic and you want to say something, just say it down there. No, but if you have something that you want to say in the comments about being scummy or what you believe is scummy, we'll go through those as well. Again, I have kind of a list here of things that we're going to talk about, but I'd love to have all of your guys' opinions. And as always, it just makes the chat go a little smoother if I'm able to interact with some of you guys. So, and if you guys are just now coming in, I really appreciate everybody that's just now joining. Let's get started. Let's talk about what makes somebody a scumbag and if all resellers are scumbags. So right off the top, we are going to say reselling as itself is not scummy. People don't understand, and this is all coming from a content creation perspective. I obviously make a lot of reels and I see tons of comments, and it's normally people that don't get involved with reselling, but want to comment about resellers. So just because you resell, that does not make anything scummy. Walmart resells, Disc Replay resells, GameStop resells. Every business that sells a physical product, unless they physically make that product, they resell. They buy an item for a cheaper price to resell it. That in itself is not scummy at all. And I don't understand why anyone would ever think that's something scummy to make profit on an item. That's literally every business that ever existed has to make profit. So let's just put that out there. Not just because you resell or you're a reseller, you are not scummy. That's just stupid. The other thing that I want to say is, can resellers be scumbags? Yes, 100%. And we're going to talk about some of those things. Brandon, this chocolate milk's for you, bud. So just because all resellers aren't scumbags, some resellers can definitely be scumbags. Good people can do scumbaggy things sometimes as well. So just because you do one thing that's kind of scummy doesn't make you a scumbag. So we're going to talk about like business practices that I feel is scummy. Okay. So there's actually lots of stuff that I don't agree with that some resellers do or some people do in general. And we're just going to take that reseller out of it and we'll consider all sellers, because resellers is just selling. So there's physical businesses, there's retail locations that do scummy things as well. Valentina, thank you. This shirt is my Gremlin shirt. And if you guys like the shirts that I wear, you can't really see it on Facebook. Let me lower this down a little bit for my Facebook and YouTube people real quick. My Gremlin shirt came from Once Upon a Tees. And if you ever want to check out all of their shirts, I have a link in my profile. So just find my link, check out Once Upon a Tees. I get most of my like cool retro shirts from there. And I like them because they make tall sizes. I'm a pretty big dude. I'm 6'4". Thank you for all those likes that are coming in, and Refound Style, thank you for the live. I always say that. The very first one that follows me, I always say thank you for the live. Thank you for following me. I much appreciate it. Morning, Kyle. How you doing over on Facebook? Valentina, thanks for liking that live. Okay, let's start with some of the things that I think are scummy. And please tell me in the comments, do you agree with some of the stuff that I'm going to say? And if you don't agree, put that down there too. And if you want to talk a specific like scummy thing you want to talk about, put that in the comments and we'll talk about it. That's my favorite Christmas movie. My girls actually love this movie too. I'm torn. I don't really consider it a Christmas movie, even though it takes place around Christmas time. I'm one of those people that don't consider Die Hard a Christmas movie, but it is a fun movie. Kevin Page, are you just trying to convince people you aren't a scumbag? No, I'm trying to tell people what I believe is scummy. So let's talk about it. The first thing that I do think is a scummy business practice is when people use not tested. Okay. So this is even more important when, like, if you're on eBay and you try to sell something in a category with electronics and you put that it's not tested. Now, it's different if you are selling something for parts or it's broken, because that's just one of the categories. You put untested, parts, broken. That's completely different. I'm talking about somebody that wants to sell a PlayStation on eBay and they list it as not tested. To me, that's just dumb. If you're going to put not tested, then you are saying it doesn't work. That's basically what you're saying. And I even get more furious about when this happens off of eBay in a local purchase. So I really think it's scummy. And it happened to us recently. We went and picked up an NES. It had all of the cables with it, and it was listed as untested. We still haven't tested it yet. I'm hoping that if it doesn't work, it'll be an easy fix. But to me, that's unacceptable. You have the item. You have all the parts for it. Do not list it as untested. Test it. That to me is very scummy, because if you are listing something as untested, my first thought is it doesn't work, and you just want to put untested. That way, if it doesn't work, you can say, well, I didn't test it, so you bought it as is. No, test your items. That is super scummy. That's the first thing. Thank you so much. Hopefully I didn't miss any comments here. You always entertain the haters. I can't stand these people that think resellers are scalpers. We'll talk about that too. Tiny Shop. I actually do get a lot of comments about, like, why do you engage with the negative comments? Why do you give them time? And it's very simple. If you make content online, so a lot of people that watch these, they don't actually make content, but those of you that do, if you can engage with positive and negative people, it only boosts your metrics. So I always try to be civil with people until they give me that negative energy, and I'll just give it right back to them. But I still engage with them, because if I can keep them talking to me in these comments, then it's just going to be beneficial to me. It's going to make those videos do better. Those videos are going to find people that actually want to watch them. So those few negative people that want to say dumb, stupid things, I'll still engage with them, and it's just going to help me in the end. Brandon Sickbert, give this guy some hate. He says all resellers are scumbags. And just so you know, he's my business partner. So he's calling himself a scumbag. He sees it in my videos a lot, people calling him names. It's like he didn't even make the video, but he gets a lot of hate in the comments as well. You got scammed on a set of AirPod Max. So Tanner Lynn, did you sell the AirPod Max or did you buy the AirPod Max? Let's start with that question first. I'd like to know, did you buy it or did you sell it? Because as a seller, you can get scammed, and as a buyer, you can get scammed. Okay, so Tanner Lynn bought them. How did you get scammed? Was this a local purchase or was it a purchase on eBay or something like that? Please let me know, Tanner Lynn, and we'll talk about that. Welcome, T-shirt man. Welcome everybody that's just now joining. I appreciate you guys coming in today. Let's move on while we're waiting for Tanner Lynn. So the other thing that I feel is scummy, again, everybody's going to have different opinions on what they think is scummy. But one of the things that I do find very scummy is when a seller or a reseller you don't have to be a reseller or just a seller in general, when they try to sell something at a garage sale for a retail price. So if let's say this Cobalt knife sells for $14.99 on Walmart or wherever it is, and at your garage sale, you ask $14.99, even if it's new. To me, that is scummy, because when you sell something online, especially eBay, the seller is taking a cut. So they're taking 15% generally is what we average, because when you factor in promoted and all the different fees, it ends up being somewhere in between 13 to 15% unless you promote higher. So if you try to sell this for what it sells on eBay at your garage sale, you're basically saying, I'm trying to get more money than I would get on eBay. And to me, that is super scummy. I don't care if you sell stuff for a higher price at your garage sale. Everybody has the right to say no or not buy it. But I think that if you're going to sell something, you should at least give courtesy to the buyer to give them a price that if you factored all your fees away, you give them to them at that price. Because not only are you not paying fees, you're not listing it, you're not photographing it, you're not taking the time that all these other sellers are actually doing to get that higher margin. So I don't care if you sell it at retail. Most likely nobody's going to buy it anyway, but I do think that's a scummy business practice. And there's lots of sellers or resellers that try to run basically eBay stores out of their garage sale. And we all know that they're doing that to avoid taxes. So to me, that's pretty scummy. If you want to do that, I'm cool with it. You should lower your prices to at least give your buyers some of that discount. I missed some comments over here on TikTok. Let's see here. Tanner Lynn said, eBay, the serial number is fake. The serial number is fake and they won't update. The serial number is fake and they won't update. I don't know what you mean by this. So you bought a pair of AirPods. The serial number is fake. So you bought these knowing, or you got it and figured out they were fake? I'm still kind of confused on how you got scammed on that. Tiny Shop says, oh yeah, that's the worst. Everyone's selling eBay prices, not factoring shipping costs and fees. Exactly, Tiny Shop. I think that's pretty scummy that you're taking all those fees out of the equation, but you still want to sell it for what those people are trying to get it for on eBay. So I think we're on agreement there. I always use that when buying from those kinds as well. Yeah, you want to talk to them. Like, some people aren't doing it to be scummy. They're literally just saying, I saw it sold for $20 online. And a lot of people don't even understand what that means. So like I have to explain it. I don't have to. I choose to explain it fairly often to people about how sold listings work, how the fee structure works on eBay. And even people that claim that they've been selling on eBay for 20 years don't always understand it. Okay, let's go over to Facebook. Daniel Bowles says, for personal use, I think the fees doesn't matter when purchasing from a yard sale if you're not a reseller. So what Daniel's saying is, like, if he's going out and he's looking for hide glide at a garage sale, and I don't know what hide glide sells for, it's probably not much. Let's just say $5. So we'll say that it costs $5 to get it to you with shipping. So $5 free shipping. I believe what Daniel is saying, that if he finds this game at a garage sale for $5, he's okay with that. And that's perfectly fine coming from him as the buyer. But me looking at that, I do think that's kind of scummy that they're charging Daniel $5 for this game where they're getting 100% of that profit. They did no work on it. And Daniel could have had this delivered to his house for $5. To me, that is kind of scummy. I feel like as the seller, you should be giving your customers a discount, knowing that you're not doing any of the work. You're not paying taxes on it. To me, I just think that's scummy. Again, a lot of this is going to be personal opinion, but that's the way I feel. I love your shirt. Thank you, Amy. I talked about this. Check out my link in my description. It takes you to Once Upon a Tee. I'd very much appreciate if you guys check it out. All the shirts like that are cool, retro, and video game themed, that's where I get them from. So check out my affiliate link in my profile. They won't update through Apple. Okay, user 53318. Weren't you commenting as a, or is that coming from somebody else? So if they won't update through Apple, why don't you just ask for a return? So anytime that somebody sells you something and it's not as described, meaning that item doesn't work, you should be able to return it on eBay. So I'm not sure how you got I don't even know what you said earlier. How you got scammed on there. Like, how is that a scam if you're able to return it and get your money back? So let me know, were you not able to return it? I think that's going to be the question. Hatcher's Hideaway, thank you so much for following me. Very much appreciate that. Today, we're also going to pick up like 300 die-cast cars. So that's pretty exciting. Brandon worked out a private deal that we're going to go do. Hopefully, we're going to buy some more stuff while we're there. Our last private deal, which if you watch that video, was very frustrating. So hopefully it's not going to be as frustrating today. I'm already running out of my chocolate milk. That's not good. Okay. So we talked about doing retail at a garage sale and using that phrase, not tested. Let's switch, and we're going to go to a couple things that I feel that people use as being scummy that I very much disagree with. High Volt Sports, love the Gremlin shirt. Thank you. Again, check it out on my link. Go to Once Upon a T, and you can find that link in my description. And use Retro Rewinder. If you find anything you want to buy, you can get 5% off with my code Retro Rewinder. So they have some really cool shirts. I wear them often. And it seems like my Gremlin shirt and my Never Ending Story shirt, they always seem to get like the most comments. A lot of people like those. So go ahead and check those out. Okay, so one of the things that people will comment that they feel is scummy that I 100% disagree with is haggling. So haggling meaning if you find an item and I'm talking about garage sales pretty much exclusively here. So if you go to a garage sale and they have an item for $10 and you offer $5, people think that's pretty shady, and I don't believe that at all. Because first of all, when you haggle with somebody, that person doesn't have to sell it to you. It's not like you're forcing anybody to sell you their game for $5 or 50% off or whatever it is. So there's no obligation when you offer anything for that person to sell it to you. Plus, if you go to garage sales, that is the culture of a garage sale. It's people haggling. My wife refuses to have a garage sale because she does not like the idea of haggling. She wants to put a price on something and then it sells. And that's not what a garage sale is. I'm sorry if people believe that, but when you go to a garage sale, you're going to understand that it's going to be haggling. It's going to be people that want the item to keep it. It's going to be people that want it to sell it. Haggling is going to run rampant at the garage sale. That's the type of environment you're in. It's the same like if you go to one of those pop-up flea markets. There's a lot of back and forth and discussion. Now, I think where people get the issue is if I know, again, not that this game sells for it. Let's find something else here. Let's talk about this one. We got this little Grateful Dead beanie bear. People have an issue when if this is $5 at the sale and I know it sells for $20 and then I offer $3. So that's where I think some people get their issue. They're like, well, you're already going to sell it for $20 and make all this money. Yes, I am going to sell it for $20 and make money. But a lot of the time, what they don't understand is I'm not getting $20 for that item. They're not factoring in the fact that I have to take the time to list it. I have to take the time to photograph it. I have to take the time to ship it. And I personally don't go to work for free. So I factor all of that in to what I'm buying. So even though it sells for $20, I have to factor in how much time it takes me to do those things. It also factors in the gas to get there, because if you go garage selling a lot, especially around central Indiana, it's not like I'm hitting 100 garage sales back to back to back. Sometimes you're driving 20 minutes to get to a garage sale. So I'm factoring all of that gas into what I'm buying. Plus, the seller never has to sell it to me. So I have the ability to offer them something. They have the ability to say yes or no. So I don't understand why anybody thinks that's scummy. It's just what people do. Sean Welch, thanks for the follow. Very much appreciate it. I appreciate the gift as well. Or member of the team, whatever that means. I'm still kind of new on this, so sometimes things pop up and I don't actually know what they mean. So I'm still fairly new to the TikTok lives. Okay, let's talk about, we kind of mentioned this anyway. So we'll talk about the profiting aspect. People are like, you're profiting, so you're scummy. Every business profits. If you weren't trying to profit, then why have a business? Even not for profits, profit. But they take their profits and they put them back into the business for their mission goals. So anytime somebody's saying, well, that's scummy because you're profiting, That's the whole point. Like, I don't understand why anybody would think that's wrong. And one of the things that I respond with, I was like, oh, so you go to work for free? And they're like, well, that's different. I have a real job. So you ask them, what is a real job? And they never have anything that says that reselling isn't a real job. I pay taxes. I support my family. I have health insurance. I'm able to put money into retirement. All of those things are done just at any other job. So I just think it's kind of funny. Let's see here. I think I missed some comments over here. Scott, Brandon is my business partner. He's just being funny. He's not like saying anything bad. No worries, Scott. Profiting. So yeah, profiting is so scummy. So even doctors, even teachers, even like the best for the community business you can think of needs to profit, or they wouldn't be a business anymore. Sean Welch, you have a YouTube, don't you? I do. Again, you can find all of my links in my link tree. So you can go check out my YouTube. Yesterday, I loaded up a 14-minute video to YouTube. So the couple reels that I released recently, they're about that video. So if you want to see the full length video, check it out on my YouTube. Dave asked, do you sell on Amazon? And I personally do not. I used to sell on Amazon, and I got tired of trying to jump through all of the ungating and getting regated stuff. So I just made the decision, I'm not going to sell on Amazon. Maybe one day in the future, if I get to a point where we feel like we can get some of those invoices and sell some stuff that we find. But most of our inventory comes from used products that we find at garage sales. And I know Amazon's really good for new products. Not that you can't sell used products on there, but I just choose not to sell on Amazon. Jiffy JK says, I love how people get upset at resellers, but will pay for the newest iPhone each year. Exactly. It's just so contradictory. They complain about a reseller. Like a lot of times you hear resellers ruin collecting, but then it's like the rarest games for your collection, you didn't go find them most likely where I'm getting them. So you had to buy from a reseller. So I just think it's funny. And a lot of those collectors, which I've been collecting for 20 years, but I'm told constantly I'm not a collector. A lot of those collectors, they're going to go to the garage sale. They're going to buy a 20-game bundle, and they're going to take 5 of those games for their collection, and then they're going to sell off or trade the rest. But they don't consider themselves a reseller or a seller, but when clearly that's what they're doing. They're just using their profits to fund directly into the collection, which is what I used to do as well. Scott, I do sell on Depop a little bit. I try to cross-post, but I'm not very good at being consistent at posting. At cross-posting, and Depop is like my least favorite platform. I just haven't been able to make that jump into Depop like other people have. So I think I have good enough inventory. I'm just not sure why I don't do so well on there. Okay, let's see here. Sean Welch says, how would you recommend selling a collection of 50 to 70 die-cast cars? Great question, because we're about ready to go buy 300 die-cast cars. And I feel the best way to do that is to sell them at a flea market. We take all of our die-cast, anything that's like pretty good, we'll put it on eBay. So, you know, those $20 and up items, even sometimes we'll put the $20 cars in there. But stuff that you know will sell for good money, put that individually on eBay. Everything else, if you can get like a spot in a local flea market or an antique shop, put them in there and put them for cheap. I mean, we sell every Hot Wheel that we come across. Unless it's worthy for eBay, it's $1 in our flea market booth. So if it sells for $5 on eBay and the sell-through rate's pretty bad, I'm not putting it on eBay for $5. It goes into the flea market for $1, and we sell a few hundred every month. So that's how I recommend selling that kind of stuff. If you can find like a local setup, or you're going to have to unload it all more cheaply. Hopefully, does that Facebook and YouTube look okay? It looks a little laggy on my side. So, but you may have to like move all that cheaper stuff to a single buyer. And by doing that, you're going to have to take a cut on your profit. Where do you find out about your yard sales? Just drive around. So, and that came from High Voltage Sports. So when we do garage sales, we'll typically check like the night before or the morning while we're driving. And what I like to do is find a garage sale on this side of Indy and then a garage sale on this side of Indy, and then try to string together any that we find. And I use the app Yard Sale Treasure Map. That's the one I personally use. I like to use that. And then I like to make those drives in between those sales and do not use interstates. So around Indianapolis, that means I'm staying off of 465 and 865. I want to go all back roads. So hopefully the goal is to see signs along the way, because the best garage sales are going to be the ones that weren't advertised online. You're going to want to look for those sign yard sales. Those are going to be the ones with the least amount of competition, and you can normally get some pretty good stuff at those. So that's how I do it. Brandon will also, like, if I'm driving, he'll kind of check Facebook and see if there's anything in the area. In my opinion, Facebook has like the worst layout if you're trying to look for garage sales. It's just horrible. Facebook needs to improve that drastically. So coming over back to Facebook, Scott Holmes, try Whatnot for diecast. I've been doing all my diecast on Whatnot, been getting pretty good sales. So there you go. He said, try out Whatnot. I think we tried like one show for Hot Wheels one time, and we just got really annoyed with it because people wanted to be like, I only want Nissans or I only want Ferraris. And we had like thousands of Hot Wheels. So we just wanted to pull out one Hot Wheel at a time, be like, this is $1, or we'll do 2 for $1. And people wanted pretty specific things. So we have had good luck on Whatnot, but not for diecast. But it seems like Scott does, so you may give that a try. Vintage or Veg Head Chrissy, I sell my mother's 50-year thrifting hoard currently. Hey, if you've got a big, large inventory that you don't actually have to go source for, that's great. What kind of stuff did she thrift all those years? I'm curious. Thanks for the follow, Veg Head. Very much appreciate it. Thank you, Susan, for the follow. Very much appreciate you guys. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to talk about that is scummy, no matter if you're a reseller or a business or whatever, is lying. Okay. This is pretty self-explanatory, I think, but I think that is one of the most, like, if you aren't lying, it's very hard to be scummy with your business practices, because most business practice that I feel are scummy are going off of the fact that in some way it's a lie. So I always try to be upfront and honest with all sellers that I buy from, that, hey, I'm out here to make money. That's why I'm here. So I'm trying to pay you this so I can resell it. So I think if you're honest and upfront with everybody and you're not lying, it's kind of hard to be scummy when it comes to your business practices. And some of the forms that I see lying is like if a reseller's out buying something and they offer on a Nintendo 64 lot, they offer $50. And then they're like, oh, I'm using this. I collect these. Yeah, you may collect like one game in that, but just tell them, hey, I do a little bit of collecting. I really want this game, but I'm going to use the rest to fund my collection. I don't understand why you need to lie about it, because in my personal experience, when I'm honest with people, it sets that expectation from the beginning that I need to buy it at a price that makes sense. So there's not this like awkward conversation of, well, it sells for 50 on eBay, so I'll sell it to you for 45. No, I got to buy it at like $30, $25 if it sells for 50 on eBay. So I don't understand why people need to lie when they're buying stuff. And I even get that comment sometimes, like, why did you tell them you're a reseller? Well, one, it leads to more sales a lot of time, and there's no reason to lie about it. And I just think that that's just kind of scummy when people do. Scott said NASCAR diecast like Dale, Tony, Jeff, Johnny, Lightning is really good. The big boxed 124 scale NASCAR good sellers also. So yeah, Scott, we those 124 scale, that's what we typically put in our flea market booth unless it's worthy for eBay. And we have like a whole booth that was dedicated to it, and that whole booth is pretty much empty now. So we do pretty well just selling that stuff in our booth, but I get how that would move on Whatnot pretty well. Lots of people are following me. Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you so much, Jay Saritz. I very much appreciate all the follows that we're getting here. And at some point here, probably in the next 30 minutes, I'm probably going to have to get off here because I got to go to the bank for that private pick that we're doing. So, and I'm out of my chocolate milk. Damn. Okay. So moving on, let's go to a thing that I do not think is scummy. So we've done a few of those scummy ones, and then we're going back to the not scummy that some people will try to claim as scummy. And that's bundle deals. I have no idea why some people think that is a scummy business practice, because when you do a bundle deal, and maybe there's some, oh wait, I missed something here. Gene, greetings from Chattanooga, back in Indy today. Oh, great. How was your vacation, Gene? It looked beautiful down there in Florida. Sorry, I missed that comment. Chocolate milk, Brandon. Chocolate milk. It's about empty though. See, I'm almost out. So for those of you that maybe don't do a lot of garage sales or like estate sales, I don't think I have to explain what a bundle deal is, but we'll do it just for the sake of if there's some new people out there that maybe doesn't know. So if you go to a garage sale where everything's priced individually, so even if it's like NES games, so they've got 30 NES games and they want $1 a piece. The bundle deal would be saying, hey, what kind of deal would you do if I bought all 30 games? So they're like, well, I could do 20. So some people consider that scummy if you're already going to make money on it. And this is my argument why I don't think it's scummy. Even if I'm buying, so normally when I gather up stuff at a garage sale for things that I know I'm going to make money on, it already has to be at a price that I'm going to make money on. So if there's a $5 item that sells for $5, I'm not even going to put that into the bundle because I'm already grabbing things that I think are going to be profitable. But when you do a bundle, you are buying multiple, sometimes a bunch of stuff from one person, and you are giving them the benefit of moving that stuff in one transaction, not having to talk about each individual item when somebody else comes up. You are benefiting them just as much as they are benefiting you. So why not try to get the bundle deal? And bundle deals are very similar to haggling. The seller doesn't have to do a bundle deal. If I take $50 worth of stuff up that I'm already going to profit on, and I say, hey, would you do 45 on all this stuff? They have the ability to say no, or they have the ability to say yes, or they may counter. So, if I said $40, they may counter at 45. So why is that an issue to do bundle deals? It just makes no sense. Even retail stores, not like Walmart, but a lot of retail stores like GameStop or Disc Replay or toy stores, the more you buy, the more of a deal they're going to give you because they have the benefit of moving that inventory quick and to one person. It's a win-win for both parties. Let's see. Lime Kool-Aid, thanks for the heart. Very much appreciate you. What box do you use to ship a golf bag? So like the actual bag, the funny thing is I don't use a box. What I do is I put a couple layer of bubble wraps. I make sure that I'm covering like dentable stuff. So like the metal, the plastic, I try to cover all of that up to where it has a nice cushion of bubble wrap. And then I use a big trash bag. So I put the big trash bag on it. I seal it up, I tie it up, and then I tape it all. And that's what I ship it in. And I've never had a complaint. Granted, I don't ship a lot of golf bags, but when I do, that's what I do to ship them. Also saving them time to deal with future people. Exactly. That's kind of what I was mentioning, Jiffy. Like if I'm buying 50 of your items and we do that bundle deal, those are 50 items that in the future, you're not dealing with this next seller or this next buyer, then that buyer possibly not buying it, but still wanting to get discounts because again, it's a garage sale and they're going to haggle. So doing those bundle deals are just a way for both people to profit. What's in the big private pickup today? Just curious. We're buying cars, Gene. We're buying die-cast cars. So that's what we're going today for. And I talked about this, I think it was 2 days ago. I did a video about my favorite ways to source. One of the key things when you get to go pick something up, so you're already meeting somebody, use conversation. So we know that this person has a full storage unit full of stuff and a house. So the goal is we're going for the cars, but we're going to try to buy even more. Once we get there, we're going to have discussions about, well, what else are you selling? We look for records. We look for toys. We look for video games. Telling people what you look for can lead to more purchases. So even though we're going for cars, and it is actually a pretty expensive car pickup, the hope is we're going to come back with even more than that. Just came back to say, I love your t-shirt. Thanks, Wilk. This is like the 4th comment about this t-shirt here. Again, check out my link in my description. So I have a link tree in my profile and go to Once Upon a Tee. Check them out. Use my link tree and use Retro Rewinder at checkout and you can get 5% off. I love their shirts. They make tall sizes for big guys like me. I think they fit nicely and they have awesome graphics that are designed by artists. So those artists, every time you buy a shirt, they get a cut of that percentage as well. I don't think I missed anything else. We did get another follow by Wilk Fab. Thank you so much, Wilk. Very much appreciate it. Okay. This next thing that I'm going to talk about, hold on, I've got a comment. Kyle said lots of times they are happy to get rid of all those items and want you to come back every week. Exactly. We have bought stuff. And again, we tell people that we're buying to resell, and we'll do one of those bundle deals. And we're like, hey, we want inventory. So we'll go to pick something up. And like, the other day I went to a guy's house to look at stereo equipment. His price on the stereo equipment was astronomical, and we couldn't come to an agreement. But we left there buying sports cards, t-shirts, a model train set. What else did we get? We got patches, like military patches. We got all this stuff. And he was like, oh, I'm glad you bought all this stuff. I didn't even know I wanted to sell it. And he was like, I'm going to call my brother and maybe he has some stuff. So when they know that you're there to buy a lot of stuff, they know they're getting more stuff out of their house and they're more likely to call you back. Okay. So this next thing that I'm going to talk about is really a term I don't even think exists. I just made it up because I was trying to think of, like, in my mind, what this item is. And I'm going to call it event gouging. So again, this is just a term that I just made up. It's not like a real thing, at least that I know of. And when I talk about event gouging, this is the scummy practice that I mean. I mean where they will price up an item specifically for an event. So some ways that people can do this would be like a retail store like Walmart. Sometimes I truly feel that Walmart has like a big clearance event, but then they raise their prices slightly. So they may be doing 10% off or 20% off, but it seems like their prices are almost 10% higher. And Walmart may be like an extreme example. They may not do it as much as like GameStop or local toy stores or local video game stores. Or I've even seen garage sales do it where they're like, today is 50% off day. And then you look and it's like, man, your prices are pretty high even once I take 50% off. So I consider that event gouging, and I think that's very scummy. You typically see that in going out of business sales. Yeah, so their whole store is 90% off, and then all of a sudden their prices are a little higher than they were before. And that's talking about the retail side. But I've also seen this in person. So a lot of the times, like if you ever go to like a video game show, a card show, like when an event that you had to pay to get into, you'll see that their prices, not all the time, but some sellers will increase their prices just because they are at an event where people want to buy them. So you may find a video game that normally sells for $20 at online, and they're trying to get 25, or they're trying to get right at 20, when normally if they were back home, they wouldn't have asked that much money. To me, that is event gouging. They're literally raising the prices because of a specific event. You can also see this at races. So like we have a big track, the most famous track in the world, the Indianapolis 500 runs there. People will set up at those events knowing that they can get more money for their items. And it's just taking advantage of people that don't know, hey, I can get that same item on eBay for 20% cheaper than you're selling it. To me, that is a scummy business practice. Let me know. Do you feel that scummy when people do that? Or do you think that's just part of the business taking advantage of the popularity of an event? Again, we can all have different opinions on these things, but my opinion is that's pretty scummy. Okay, let me move on here. So we did the event gouging. Okay, the next thing that I consider pretty scummy is condition hiding. So when I mean condition hiding, I mean when you specifically will leave a flaw off of an item when you go to sell it. Hey, Sean, thanks for liking that live. We're at 190 likes and now up to 200. If you guys want to give this live a like, that would be hugely appreciated. Nani, thanks for the follow. You also would have to take the time to bring it to the event and set it up. Maybe not 20%, but okay. So I get that you're putting a little more extra time into selling it, but you're also not just bringing one item. You're typically bringing like a whole truckload of stuff. So it'd be similar to you running a sale at your store where you may take a little bit less of a price. Like if you ran, like I need to get rid of a lot of man, I'm having trouble talking now. Like where you need to get rid of a lot of inventory in your store. So you do this huge sale. You're basically getting the benefit of getting rid of a lot of huge inventory where you don't have to price it up. You may take a little bit of hit off the profit for selling it at your normal prices, But I don't think because you're taking stuff there that you need to gouge up your price more. Again, this is my personal opinions, but people are already paying to go to those events anyway. So it doesn't make sense for me to pay $10 to walk in the gate and then pay 20% or 15% above retail for an item. Again, that's my personal opinion, but I do get what you're saying. They are spending a little extra time and money to those. I have a booth in a store though, and I mark it down so I get and we have a couple flea markets as well. Make sure I didn't miss anything over here. Okay. So the condition hiding that I was talking about is like if you list something on eBay and there's a stain and you purposefully don't put that picture of the stain in your listing, to me, that's very scummy. You're hiding flaws on an item. I've also seen this on Facebook deals where, you'll see, hey, I'm selling all these games and they work. It'll say they work. And then you get there and the scratches on the discs are pretty extreme. Facebook and YouTube, can you let me know, is that stream? I hope that it's being as bad on your end. Make sure I'm on the right internet. So hopefully it's looking okay over there. Kyle or Brandon, if you're still over there, Scott, could you let me know? Kabamit's Tam, thanks for the follow. Very much appreciate you doing that. Crystal, TikTok looks like it's always a little better. I use a program to stream directly to Facebook and YouTube, and that program and my internet has just been giving me fits about this for like months. Thanks for liking the live, Auglio. Cash flow, growing clientele, says Auglio. Used to flip storage units, found a transformer still in the original box. Hubby kept it. That is, so when you are a reseller, that is something that if you deal in things that you like, it is so hard not to keep stuff. I have come to the point where I'm pretty good about selling pretty much everything, but there's sometimes I'm like, I want to buy that just because I want to keep. Yeah, Kyle, it is getting laggy. I don't know why it's doing that. My internet's good over here. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Sorry about that, guys, over on Facebook. One of the things, and I collect like things that most people may not even want to collect. Like I bought an Annie from the 1980 musical, the record, because I have very fond memories of that movie with my grandma. So I bought that and it was like, nope, that's going on my shelf. I'm going to keep that. So must be OBS and Restream. I'm having the same issues. It's so frustrating, isn't it? Nice comps. It's like you pay for these services and you want it to stream like it's supposed to, and then it makes it super laggy and choppy. It's very annoying. In a perfect world, I think I would have like 4 phones set up and directly stream from each phone, but that's not always an option. Jen, thanks for liking that live. Very much appreciate you. Everybody that's giving that likes. We're up to 2,000 likes. Super appreciative of everyone that's doing that. Yep, tried all the fixes. Nothing is helping. And I'm pretty new when it comes to Restream, so I don't even know what the fixes are to try. I'm pretty much a novice when it comes to like internet and streaming. Like I've been dealing with like video games and electronics for 30 years, but the actual, yeah, sorry, Brandon. I don't know why it's doing that. But yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of servers and all that crap. So, okay, moving on. We talked about that condition hiding. If there's a flaw, just put it in your listing or put it in your sale. I think it's super scummy to like not tell people that something's wrong with an item. And then they come to pick it up and it's like, oh, that's a little worse than I thought. Like, well, yeah, you're already here, so buy it. That's awful. Don't do that. Okay, let's move on to, there's 2 things that I hear often in videos of why they believe resellers are scummy. And I don't do it, but I don't think it's scummy. And I want to talk about those things. Lowering resolution can help. 4K is a no-go for sure. Good luck, friend. Yeah, I'm on 1080. So I would think that would be okay, but I don't know. We'll get it fixed eventually, hopefully. Tom Segura. No, I'm not Tom Segura. That's a weird question mark. Okay. So one of the things that I see often in my videos that people will be like, well, this is why I hate resellers, is the backdoor deals when it comes to garage sales or like estate sales. And what that means is, so if there are some resellers that will get on and look for everybody that's listing garage sales, and then Thank you for whatever that was. Thank you, nice comps. I appreciate that for the heart. It's so weird to see that stuff pop up because I'm not used to that. So like they basically get on there and I don't even know who Bill Zane is, Brandon. Don't know. Okay. So basically they'll get on to like Facebook or wherever garage sales are listed, and then they will message those people individually and try to get those deals before they're put out to the rest of the people. I don't think that's scummy. It's just another form of business. Everybody has the option to do it. They're taking the time to put all these leads out there. The times that I have messaged people in the past, you hardly get responses anyway. So if these people want to put in all that extra time of messaging these people, go for it. I don't see why it's scummy. They're taking the initiative. If it works out for them, great. If you're jealous about it, then do it yourself. I don't see how that's scummy. The other thing that people will complain about is showing up early. So we don't do this, but I wouldn't say we're opposed to it. And the reason we don't do it is because there's normally other garage sales to go to. So like if a garage sale starts at 8 a.m., a complaint that I see is, well, our resellers, they get there at 6:30. Well, I'm not doing that because one, I got to get my kids ready for school. And two, if I show up at 6:30 and they open at 8, there is a chance that they're going to start setting up at 8. So I am not going to waste an hour and a half of my time waiting at a garage sale when I could go to the next one. So if people want to go super early to this garage sale because they listed video games in the description, you're not guaranteed to buy it because you don't know the prices. Let them show up early. If those people are getting all your video game deals in your neighborhood or your area, try doing something different. We don't have that issue. Sometimes we'll show up to a garage sale like 15 minutes early, or we're just driving down the road and we see somebody setting up. We'll stop then. So we technically do go to garage sales early. But when we do that, this is what that normal interaction looks like. Hey, there's somebody setting up for a garage sale. So we turn around, we get out and we say, are you open to people looking now? If they say no, we'll say, well, do you know how about long it'll take you to set up? And if it's a reasonable time, like 5 minutes, we'll hang out. If they said it's going to be a while, we just leave. There's no reason for us to wait there when there's other garage sales that we can go to. So people will put that in my comments a lot, like, all the resellers in my area show up super early and grab everything. Well, I'm still finding deals out there. Some of our best deals, and you'll see sometimes I'll actually put like the time where we pick stuff up, but some of our best deals come after lunchtime. So like on a Thursday, there's times where it's like, okay, we should probably head home at 2:00. And then we find a garage sale on the way and it was our best stop of the day. So to me, there's no reason to show up at 5:00 for a sale when I can find stuff at 2:00. So, okay, let me address some stuff I saw here. It's 9:00. I'm going to have to get off in about 15 minutes and head to that private pick. Morning, Jeff. How you doing? Let's see here. Some people are wild about showing up early. I'll find the leftovers. Exactly, Kyle. Like, sometimes you can go to a garage sale that a reseller leaves, and if you are well-versed in a lot of different items, you can find stuff. I feel like the people that are complaining on these videos about how these resellers are ruining everything, they just want video games or they just want vintage clothing. They're not spreading out the things they're looking for. So when I go to a garage sale, I have a dozen things that I can talk to the person about that I'm possibly interested in buying. And I think having that wide variety of topics or items, categories, makes it to where you can find stuff at almost every garage sale if you look hard enough. Let me see here. I've missed some stuff. Do you see garage sales during the week? Jennifer, yes, we go garage selling every Thursday and Friday during garage sale season. And Thursday is a great day to go garage selling here in Indiana. I feel that in the warmer areas, so if you go to California, you go to Florida, a lot of the time they're doing Saturdays and Sundays maybe, or Fridays and Saturdays. Our garage sales can go any day of the week. We've hit Monday garage sales. We've hit Wednesday garage sales. So here in Indiana, people are trying super hard to take advantage of the times that they are allowed to have garage sales. Not allowed. You can have a garage sale whenever. We don't have restrictions on our garage sales like some states. But they're trying to take advantage of that time. So they'll do a longer garage sale day, a day structure typically. So sometimes it's Thursday through, it's normally like a 3-day. That I would say 2 and 3 days are like the big structure. So if they start on a Thursday, it almost always goes to Saturday. So Thursday through Saturday. If they start on a Saturday, it most likely is Saturday and Sunday. Every now and then you'll see Saturday only, but it's normally 2 days. So Thursday through Saturday, Friday and Saturday. But pretty much every garage sale, you're good. You got a good chance of going to it if you go on a Friday here. So that covers the Thursday and the Friday ones and the Friday, Saturday. Probably explained a little too much detail about the days of the week for our garage sales, but that's what happens around here. My favorite time is around 1 p.m. People are over it and ready to be done. That's when I get the deals. So that is a very fair point. So when you're garage selling, it's kind of this balance. At the very beginning of the day, you'll find the most inventory. At the very end of the day, you'll find the best prices. So if you can hit that sweet spot where there's still inventory and best prices, that's like the number one place to go, which would be right around lunchtime. But if you get there at like 4 p.m., when people are closing up, you'll have great prices, but the chances of good stuff still being there is more slim than like at 1 p.m. So we actually do really well at like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. And then I find that, so I talk about this in all my videos, excuse me, but anytime that you can actually like chat with the people having these garage sales, it's going to lead to more purchases anyway. So a lot of times later in the day, there's less garage sales like on your route now. So you can spend a little more time talking about what you're looking for and you'll get a lot of good picks by that. Okay. I missed some stuff. Time for change. If you're still here, thank you for following me. I very much appreciate that. Looking forward to going to some estate and garage sales this weekend. We have an estate sale that we're actually looking at going tomorrow possibly. And we haven't done estate sales in a while. But garage sales are right around the corner. I'm so excited for those. Where is the best place to sell retro items? eBay. eBay is the best place to sell retro items. If they're not highly desirable retro items, so like this game probably won't do super well on eBay, but I could move this in my booth pretty easily. So I think flea markets would be my number 2 pick. So eBay and then flea markets. Bought a Western hardback book for $4, sold for $122. Hey, that's awesome, Jen. I don't find too many books that are that valuable. So are you one of the ones that like will scan through every book, or did this specific book just like jump out to you of why you should buy that? In Texas, it's Saturdays, few Fridays and Sundays, none on Thursdays. So I hit 40 to 100 on Saturdays. So Saturdays are a no-go for me because that's when my kids have sporting events and stuff like that. So I don't garage sell on Saturdays. And I have found here in Indiana that if there's a garage sale on a Saturday, most likely it has already been going on for at least a day. So I probably already hit it on Friday, and those few exceptions where it was a Saturday only, I just miss out on those. Sometimes Brandon goes on Saturdays though. Let's see here. Do you prefer the neighborhood sales or hunting individually? I love neighborhood sales, but the chances of having more competition at those is much higher. But the good thing about the neighborhood sales that I like is there's more people to talk to. And I stress this all the time, but if I can talk to more people, I can lead to more picks. So if I can do some of those neighborhood sales, the chance of me buying like really good items at a neighborhood sale probably drops a little bit. But the stuff that's not out for sale, I have a pretty good chance of getting that. Last year, to start garage sale season, we went to a neighborhood sale. And as we were leaving the sale, the last sale that we stopped at, a conversation led to them bringing out an NES, Super Nintendo, PS3. So anytime that there's like a lot of condensed sales, you're going to have more competition. But I personally like them because I can have more conversations with people. So Indy Flip wants to try to embarrass me. He says, remember that time you broke Godzilla? I do remember that time, you jerk. We found a garage sale and asked the guy, again, he didn't have this out, but we asked if he had any old retro toys for sale. He went to the back and grabbed a Godzilla. It's the Toei. I think it's like the Toei version. It shoots his fist out. He brought that out to us. This is a very expensive toy. I mean, I think, what is it, Brandon? Like $400 or $500 when it's all complete. This thing was complete. It looked in great shape. And I was like, I want to test the spring that shoots the fist. So I pushed that spring and it shot out so far, it kind of threw me off guard. And I tried to catch it. I wasn't expecting it. And I dropped the damn Godzilla and broke his head. Actually, I have that Godzilla head somewhere back there to remind me not to be an idiot at garage sales. But even the best of us, we fall sometimes. But he won't let me live that down. And we still made really good money on that brand. And we sold it off for parts and we made like $300 or something. I have no problem with people showing up early. Just when they expect special deals for being first. Yeah. I wouldn't say people shouldn't expect special deals, but just because I'm the first one there doesn't mean I'm not going to try to haggle with you. If it's not a price I don't like, or if I do one of those bundle deals, even if I'm the first person there, I may still try to haggle. But again, my opinion is garage sales are the place to do that. Gene, don't go to that one. I don't need your competition there. Let's see. Always ask if they have something you're interested in at garage sales. I've got my best deals. Yep, Jeff, I stress that over and over. Always tell them what you're looking for. And I normally lead with video games and toys. So do you have any video games for sale? Do you have any vintage toys? No. Okay. What about records? No, we don't have any of that. You have any old vintage clothing? Nope. I go through, like, depending on how many people are at the sale, sometimes I'll go through a wide list of stuff. And sometimes you have to repeat yourself. Because I've asked before, hey, do you have any old vintage toys or vintage video games? And they'll say no. And then I'll be like, yeah, we look for like old Nintendos and Game Boys. Well, I have a Game Boy. It's like, in your head, you're thinking that's a video game, but not everybody like can correlate those specific names with just general, it's a video game. So if you can kind of repeat yourself, sometimes that actually works too. Jen, that jumped out to me. I was going to say, like, I don't scan every book, but it's cool when you see something, you're like, I bet that thing is worth money. Marty, thank you for the follow. Very much appreciate it. Hardback in good shape with the dust cover. Nice. That dust cover adds a good amount of money to most things. So anytime that you can find like that outer sleeve or a dust cover, it's always going to add value. Michael says, my older brother has an insane retro toy collection, has an online store called Dan's Toys and More. Cool. If you're looking for old retro toys, don't go to Dan's Toys. Look at my eBay. I'm just kidding. Go check out his. My brother has tens of thousands of vintage toy. Okay. So some promoting of his brother. Yeah. So Brandon Indie Flip says, one of the things that we ask a lot, you got any old video games? And they're like, yeah, I got a bunch of tapes. And then they show you VHS tapes. That is like the number one thing. If they don't have video games, they will bring you VHS tapes we want. So 9/11, I got a little bit of extra time here. Let me check this list of other things. The only other thing that I wrote down here, again, we kind of got off topic a little bit, but when things are scummy, I think pleading ignorance is one of the scummy things that a person can do. And I see this at garage sales sometimes. Send me a message if there's anything you want from Nashville, Tennessee. I don't really go and look for other areas, Gene. So I wouldn't know what's down there to get for. But any video games you have, if we can work out that comic deal with Anthony, Gene, let's get on that when you get back for sure. So pleading ignorance. And we had a video last year where this woman was selling a fish finder. It was complete in the box. And we asked her, hey, is what's in this box what's supposed to be in there? And she said, yes. It was no like, I think so, or I'm not sure. It was just a definite yes. We opened up that box and there was a fish finder in there, and it was a model that was about $300 cheaper than the model that was supposed to be in there. And then when we pointed it out, it was, oh, well, my husband was selling it. So if your husband was selling it and you didn't know what was in there, don't respond that, yes, the item is in there. Another instance was I was buying wrestling figures. They wanted 50 cents a piece, which is a good deal. I'm not going to lie. 50 cents a piece is a good deal. But I asked for a bundle deal. They had a huge tub full of them. The person said, we could do, I don't even remember what the price was. Whatever price they gave me, they said, I could do this price. And then they said, there's at least 100 figures in there. So as soon as they say there's at least 100 figures, that means there's 100 for sure, but there's probably more, or there's a chance to be more. That's what at least 100 means. Then the price that they gave me, once I said, I think I'd rather do it this way, because the price they gave me, I said, if I bought 100 figures, it would actually be cheaper at your 50-cent price to buy it this way. So we ended up doing a deal. I got home, I counted the figures, and there was only like 80 figures. Now, 80 isn't like a drastic thing from 100, but they said at least 100. To me, that is scummy. They are pleading ignorance. Like, well, I didn't know. If you don't know, then don't say. Like, to me, that is a scummy thing to do. I got 2 totes of vintage t-shirt transfers. Are they worth anything? I don't know. I'm sure some of them are. We bought a book of Looney Tunes transfers, like the whole book, and it was worth nothing. So I'm sure there's probably something in there that's worth it, but without knowing everything in there and doing the research, I would have no idea. So Indy or Brandon just answered that. Depends on if it can be, it depends on, yep. So it depends on what's in there, basically. So back to this ignorance thing. When somebody tries to plead ignorance that they just don't know, that kind of goes in line with the, well, it's untested, I don't know if it works. If you have the ability to fix your ignorance, then fix it. There's no reason to try to use ignorance to do something scummy. So that's just my opinion on that. Especially when I listed, or when I uploaded that wrestling video, people were like, well, you still got a good deal. Just because I got a good deal doesn't change the fact that they lied, and that's a scummy thing to do. That's my opinion. So to wrap this up, in general, resellers are not scumbags. There are some resellers that can do scumbaggy things like lying and cheating people. But the way we handle our business is we are upfront right from the beginning. Hey, we resell. We're honest with people. If people say, how much is this worth? I'll tell them how much it's worth or what they can find it on eBay. But what I'm not going to do is say, yeah, this is worth $100. I'll give you 90. No, it's worth 100, but eBay is going to take 15%. I'm going to have to do a lot of work to sell this. I'll pay you 40 or I'll pay you 50 or whatever the case may be. That's how we run our business. I don't see how that's scummy at all. That's just doing good, honest business. Good, honest business is going to make you profit. That's the point. If people have an issue with profit, don't watch garage sale videos, because that's what it is. It's people going and making profit. So again, I just wanted to kind of chat today. And honestly, I wanted to go live for a 4th day in a row. I'm not normally consistent with my lives, so I thought that would be a good opportunity to just discuss something and keep going live as many days in a row as I could. Tomorrow, I probably won't, because we're probably going to an estate sale. Hopefully find some garage sales. There wasn't anything listed. We've had some really bad storms around here. But let me know before I get off here, like, is there anything that I didn't cover about, topics that you maybe think are scummy, or things that you would say that people claim is scummy that you don't believe is? Let me know before I head off here, and I'll try to answer some of those. But I'm running out of time here. Darren said, right, thanks. Lots of cars and music stuff. Can eBay, but how to ship? So transfers. So Darren, send me a message. We can talk about that on like text or through the messages. But shipping those transfers shouldn't be that big of an issue. And then actually Brandon said, put the transfers between 2 pieces of cardboard and throw in a poly bag. Should be okay. That's exactly right. We sell like postcards and stuff like that. If it's small enough, you just wedge it into those pieces of cardboard, like Brandon said, and ship it into a poly bag. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for everyone that decided to give me a follow today. If you did like the t-shirt, I know lots of people commented on it. Check out my affiliate link. It's somewhere up in the profile in my link tree. It's Once Upon a Tees. April, thanks for the follow. So much appreciation for everybody that's doing that for me today. And we hit 5,000 likes on this live. So thank you guys so much. And hopefully we'll get a reel out of this going to this private pick, but we'll definitely show what we get. So thank you guys, everybody that hung out with me today. Give Indy Flip. So he's right here somewhere. INDYFLIP. You can find him in the chat. He's my business partner. We also go live on Whatnot, and we're going to start doing that more often now that it's getting warm outside. We do a lot of our Whatnot shows directly from our storage unit. So we just open the door to the storage unit, and we do our Whatnots out of there. So give me and him a follow. And you should be able to find his Whatnots on there. He's Indy Flip on